All right, Gary, ready? Barb? Okay, I'd like to welcome everyone to the July 20th, 2020. How about that?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
July 20th, 2020. Didn't put too many 20s in there. The meeting of the Delaware County Board of Commissioners. Would you please rise and join me in the pledge? I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. I'm Jeff Benton, President of the Board. To my right is our Vice President Gary Merrill and our County Administrator Mike Fromer. And to my left is fellow Commissioner Barb Lewis and Jen Walraven, our clerk today. Can start the meeting.
Resolution number 20-603, in the matter of approving the electronic record of proceedings from regular meeting held July 13th, 2020.
So moved. Second.
Discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 20-603. Mr. Benton.
Aye.
Mr. Merrill.
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis.
Aye.
Resolution number 20-604, in the matter of approving purchase orders and now certificates and payments of warrants in batch number CM APR 0717.
So moved. Second.
Discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 20-604. Mr. Merrill.
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis.
Aye.
Mr. Benton.
Aye.
Next on our agenda, Susie O'Brien with the Central Ohio Regional Liaison with the Ohio Secretary of State's Office is going to have a presentation for us.
All right, welcome, Susie.
Welcome.
If you could proceed to the program and identify yourself for the record because we're recording this.
Sure. I'm Susie O'Brien. I'm the Central Ohio Liaison for Secretary Frank LaRose. And I just wanted to come and give you a little bit of an update of what's happening in our office. Last year, we had the largest number ever of new businesses starting in Ohio. And matter of fact, in May, it increased. I mean, it didn't increase, but we had the best month ever, which is interesting because of the pandemic, right? So I also wanted to touch base with you a little bit on your Board of Elections, which is doing a great job. It's very well run. Secretary LaRose is very big on securing money from the state and from the federal government, and then he tries to push it right out to your Board of Elections without them going through hoops to try to get the money. And so last year, I know you're all aware about the security, the security, I'm sorry, I'm a little nervous. The money that we pushed down $50,000 to each county to update their cybersecurity and physical security. Well, there's another amount of money that's coming out right now, and they're eligible for $173,000.
Delaware County is eligible for 100?
The Board of Elections, yes. Okay. So what that'll cover, it's through the CARES Act. It'll cover PPE. It'll cover, this is going to be, we're hoping this is going to be mostly a vote by mail election for the fact that it's really hard to get poll workers right now. And we don't want that. We want a regular election, but with the amount of poll workers we're seeing declining to work is quite a bit. Matter of fact, I only have 2 counties who have reported into me out of 15, but one county is 41% of the poll workers will work, and the other one's 42%. So part of that money is for equipment that they might need to fold and stuff ballots. It's also for overtime and to bring in extra staff to help in the office.
Just a comment, if I may.
Sure.
I understand this is a unique situation, but voting by mail, we're going to have all sorts of abuse, and I know that some people will disagree with that, but it allows for too much opportunity for abusing the system and getting a bad vote, and that's a big concern.
I realize it's a concern. What we found in Ohio that it's very rare, the way we do it, but in some states, I think there's a bigger concern than in Ohio. We make sure that the person requests the ballot, and we make sure there's not ballot harvesting.
And that's my concern, ballot and you know it's going to happen.
Right, right.
I hope that doesn't happen.
You know it's going to happen.
Yeah, there have been a few cases in Ohio where people have been caught cheating by mail typically,
mail.
sometimes voting in person more than one place. And I definitely share Commissioner Merrill's concerns that if we do blanket
We're not going to
mailings.
do blanket.
That's
yeah.
good to hear.
Yeah,
But even
right.
the absentee process
Right.
can lead to abuse.
We
It
we
has
also
been
have
shown to
20
across the
We
country.
have 28 days of early voting as well, and so we're really going to hope that people do use the early voting at the Board of Elections as well as vote by mail, just so that our polls aren't overwhelmed.
Yeah.
But so that 173 will help with
No,
this
no.
upcoming election.
Speaking of the poll worker issue, we're very much aware of that, and what can be done procedurally to reduce the need for the number of poll workers? Can you combine more voting locations?
That's
that sort of
what
thing?
the boards are going to be voting on within the next month, to consolidate, so that we don't have that problem. In the county south of Cincinnati for their primary, they usually have 395 poll workers. They ended up having 59. And that's hard to run an election with that few.
But my point is, just because it's hard to get poll workers, if you still got to have a fair election.
We are going to have a fair election.
Easy to say, harder to do. So, and one of the things that we've talked about with the poll pads now, we're in this area now where you theoretically could vote anywhere in the county rather than at your precinct location. So that won't be probably possible for this election, but that's something that could be looked at long-term to create more flexibility in the process. That's just an observation.
No, I appreciate that. I also want to let you know that Secretary LaRose secured $81,000 for your Board of Elections for the House Bill 197, which helped with the cost of the last election, the primary, with it going vote by mail at the last minute. It helped them with paying extra people for PPE. And I just wanted to see if there was any other questions that you might have.
Louis, or?
Just ask that you pass on our concerns.
I definitely will. I definitely will. Thank you so much for the time.
Sure. Before you go, voter rolls, that's another way that fraud does occur. How I know the Secretary's been actually in the forefront of trying to keep voter rolls up refreshed.
Exactly,
up to date.
exactly.
That's always been a concern as well.
Right.
So what's going on there?
So we did a big reset. Let me see, when was that? I think it was last fall, where if someone has not voted, signed a petition in 6 years, then they are taken off of the voter. They're no longer a registered voter in the state of Ohio.
That was statewide.
Pardon me?
Statewide?
Statewide. Statewide, not just here in Delaware, the whole state.
Good, good.
So he's
Do they
on top of it.
actively delete deceased individuals?
You know, let me get back to you on that. I believe they do. But that's a
I
good
know that's
question.
where there's been abuse in other states. But anyway, okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And I will get back with your clerk with that
Okay, that'd be great.
information. Thank
All
you.
right, well, thank you very much for coming. Commissioner Lewis has questions.
Just one other point. I know one of the things that concerns all of us are what you call harvesting of ballots,
Right.
where a person literally, let's say a voter, an elderly person wants to vote, and so they've requested an absentee ballot, and so, however, then others can collect those ballots and turn them in, and also they could actually talk to this person and say, they're not supposed to, but, give little suggestions maybe on how to vote. And I mean, something like that is a real problem. That's in the federal legislation that was passed by the U.S. House. The U.S. Senate won't pass it, but some states like California have that. Others have laws on the books in which that's permitted. And so, I mean, you've literally got people running around and representing different organizations, collecting ballots. And so I think that's definitely part of the problem.
Along that line, I'll give you a scenario, let's say it's fiction, but you have somebody in a nursing home that is very pro one side or the other. They encourage their people to ask for the absentee or whatever. Then you ask the people to sign it, and then you vote for them after they sign it. Those kind of things are happening. And for us to think they're not happening, we're being naive. And the credibility of the election is extremely important. And Commissioner Lewis is right on target. The nursing homes are a place where that is easy to do because of the situation some of those people find themselves in. And I just hope our Secretary of State takes it as seriously as it needs to be taken.
He does. And one thing with the nursing homes, it's one Republican and one Democrat go to vote in Ohio, go to vote.
Pardon, I'm sorry.
Can't hear you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Let me
You
take, do you care
yeah,
if I
you can take it off.
You can take it off.
I'm sorry,
Okay.
yeah.
So in Ohio, representatives from the Board of Elections, one Republican and one Democrat, they go together and they vote each of those nursing home people. Same as the hospital. If someone's in the hospital, they go in person and they vote each one of them. Now with the pandemic, we weren't, at the very last minute, we weren't allowed to go into the nursing homes. But most of them had been voted before, because it was March 17th was the day. March 16th was when
And most
was
would have voted
postponed.
by then. I see.
But, so now, I will definitely take that concern for this time. What the boards of elections are doing is now they're getting one Republican and one Democrat inside that works at the nursing home, and they're deputizing them to vote,
Okay.
to make sure
Yeah.
that it's a fair election. And I don't know if you know this, but every absentee ballot that comes back, that signature is checked to make sure it's the same signature on the poll book. So
Oh,
we're really,
that's-
we're really working hard to make sure that the elections are fair. But I understand what you're saying about they sign it and then someone else votes it, but that's not how it's happening in the nursing homes.
But that's much easier to do when you're mailing rather than coming to a poll location.
Right. And also when turning in ballots, it has to be a relative, like a son or a wife or a husband, has to be a direct relative, is the only person who can turn in another person's ballot.
There's a lot of relatives out there, some are Republican and some Democrat in the same family, so that's not particularly reassuring. So a lot of families are split on the party affiliation. So.
I get what you're saying. So,
One of the things we do as a county, and other counties can do it too, is offer a service day where our employees work then at the polls. And that's gone over very well. I know when we've had problems before in getting poll workers, and I'm hoping we do that. I'm sure we'll do it this
Great.
time too.
I
And
will-
that's,
thank you.
So that's a great idea to encourage other counties to do that.
Yes,
And I do work the polls.
thank you.
And I can tell you, the Republicans and Democrats at my poll location are exemplary. We work well together. I wish I could believe that that happens everywhere. I don't. But it can happen, is my point.
Right.
But it requires 88 boards of elections to take this very seriously in our state and
Exactly.
really to follow through, so.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you.
The secretary is going to be making calls to large companies as well, and
Oh,
seeing
good,
if they can do
good.
the same thing with the Day of Democracy.
Oh, that's great.
Do you have any recommendations of companies in Delaware, in the county?
Yeah, we can certainly come up with some
Okay.
and get
Yeah,
you
but
those.
Chase is the big one.
Susie.
Chase has
right.
about 13,000 employees here in Delaware
Right.
County.
Great. You know
They're
what?
far and away the biggest.
Fantastic. I left my card in the car, but I'll bring it back in and leave it at the
Okay,
desk.
oh, great, thank
Okay?
you,
All
thank
right.
you, yes.
Thank you
we
all.
can
Thank you.
add some. Thanks so much.
Sure. And they are doing a great job over there.
Okay.
Good to hear. Okay, Jennifer?
Resolution number 20-605, in the matter of approving a services agreement with Delaware County Finance Authority for special development services.
So move.
Second.
Discussion?
Bob Lamb, Economic Development Director. Commissioners, before you today is a request to approve $205,000 to be moved from the Economic Development budget to the Delaware County Finance Authority. This is within the approved budget for the annual year of 2020. It is to cover the joint service costs such as the Route 23 corridor work, some of the 3637 Berlin Business Park work, and other endeavors regarding different marketing efforts and engagement efforts that the Economic Development Office has done in partnership with the Delaware County Finance Authority.
Okay. I know there's a lot going on, and
Yes.
this facilitates a lot of those initiatives. So, vote, please.
Vote on motion 20-605. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bob.
Resolution number 20-606, in the matter of approving a transfer of appropriations.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Good morning, John Melvin, Director of Facilities. This transfer of appropriation is to move some monies in the permanent improvement from the capital projects over to service and charges. With all our capital projects on hold, we have some other smaller maintenance items we need to address. So we need to move those from the capital line item down to service and charges.
Okay, vote.
Vote on motion 20-606. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 20-607, in the matter of declaring personal property obsolete, unfit, or not needed for public use, and the intent of selling such property via internet auction or disposal of property of no value.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
I have another fine list of fine automobiles that we want to sell on internet auction. They've been removed out of service and are ready to be liquidated.
Would these be replaced with the enterprise program vehicles?
Most of some of these have been, some of them from the sheriff's office.
Okay. Okay, vote.
Vote on motion 20-607. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 20-608, in the matter of approving the sanitary sewer improvement plans for villas at Old Harbor East.
So move.
Second.
Discussion?
Morning, Commissioners. Tiffany Mag, Director of Environmental Services. So this is a plan approval for a development that's at the corner of Old State Road and Hollenbeck Road. It's 50 individuals, and we request your approval.
Okay, vote.
Vote on motion 20-608. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr.
Sorry, my
Merrill?
apology. I'll slap my hand, go ahead.
Mr. Okay, Mr. Benton
Yes.
and Mr. Merrill was an aye. Resolution number 20-609, in the matter of approving the sanitary sewer subdividers agreements for Berlin Manor, Section 3, and Liberty Grand District, Section 2A and 2B.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
So these are both standard subdividers agreements. The first one, Berlin Manor, that's off of Cheshire Road near the Berlin Township building. And then the second one, Liberty Grand, that's near the Liberty High School, the Olentangy Liberty High School. There's 53 lots in that subdivision and 38 in Berlin Manor.
Now, the Berlin, or the Liberty Grand is an apartment building, correct?
Now, this one's actually, this is single-family lots that MI is developing.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah. They do have a separate apartment complex. That's
Yeah,
not this one.
that's not this part, okay. All right, vote, please.
Vote on motion 20-609. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 20-610, in the matter of accepting sanitary sewer improvements for Hyatt's Crossing Sanitary Sewer Improvement Phase 1.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
So this is, sewer's been installed and met all of our requirements. It's at the corner of Hyatt's and Sawmill Road. There's 64 lots there. This is considered private lots, single-family homes.
Okay, vote.
Vote on motion 20-610. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 20-611, in the matter of approving the project grant agreement between the Ohio Public Works Commission and the Board of Commissioners of Delaware County for the project known as C-13 and CR-21 road reconstruction, and authorizing Commissioner Barb Lewis to execute said agreement, along with approving disbursements made as a result of this agreement.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Morning, Commissioners. Rob Riley, Chief Deputy Engineer. You're familiar with this project. This is the Africa Road and Worthington Road project. We were successful in obtaining just under $500,000 towards this project, and so this is the agreement to provide for that funding.
Great.
What's the timeline on this one, Rob? How's it coming along?
The bids will be out either this Friday or next Friday, and then we'll hope to get started at least doing some work this fall. There's quite a bit of utility relocation that still has to happen out there, so we won't get much in the work in the way of road work done until next year, but we should have the project mostly wrapped up by the end of next year. It may spill over into 2022 to finish it up, though.
Okay. All right, vote.
Vote on motion 20-611. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Resolution number 20-612, in the matter of approving the owner's agreement for Gretchen Street, Berlin Manor, Section 3, and North Lake Woods, Section 2.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
These are our standard development agreements for street and storm improvements. We have a total of 87 lots involved in these three agreements, 40 at Berlin Manor, and then another 47 in North Lake Woods, and we're recommending your approval.
Okay, vote.
Vote on motion 20-612. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Thank you.
Ben, I have a comment.
Yes.
Did Mr. Bosman pass on to you our recognition that Shanahan in 23 was open? You missed the meeting. We were going to give you some.
Thank you. Yes, he did. I was very sad I had to miss that meeting, so Mr. Bosman carried along the message, so appreciate it.
Yeah, it's good to see.
And Mr. Bosman was at a special event last week.
Yeah. Chris, you got any remarks for us? That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I think I shared with all of you that last Friday I received a call from the executive director of our National Association of County Engineers, and from my time as I was president of that association about 10 years ago. And one of the things that we worked hard on then, and our association continued to work hard on, is trying to streamline the federal approval process for transportation projects, try to make them happen faster and less expensive as a result of the time savings. And so the call came from the White House to our National Association in recognition of those advocacy efforts on that, asking for a group of engineers from around the country to join an event at the White House this past Thursday to review the administration's efforts in streamlining not just transportation, but a number of other regulatory burdens that exist in the federal government. And so I never thought I'd get an invitation to go to the White House, but I did, and as you can imagine, I accepted it. They really asked for permission to submit my name. I said yes, and then 4 or 5 emails of asking for information and getting shortlisted and all of that. I got a formal invitation Monday evening, and so flew out Thursday morning and back Thursday evening and attended the event on the south lawn of the White House. And as interesting as that was personally, really the best news out of the whole thing was this regulatory relief that's coming to our projects. And the National Environmental Protection Act is very well intentioned, and we can still be very environmentally responsible with our projects, but there's really no reason why we can't get our answers quicker and understand what we have to do faster, and that's really what this is all about. So,
I read there was because of the act, I think it went into effect in 1970. But in Denver, it took 13 years to get 12 miles of road approved under that act. It's like, oh, come on. So there were, have numerous changes now, which is
the President
great.
made it clear that there's a new 2-year limit on getting an answer through the
that's
NEPA
great.
process, and it doesn't mean you won't get a no answer, but at least you won't, in the case of a project that lasts, keeps going on and on, you keep investing money in trying to get projects approved that maybe won't ultimately be approved. And so it's realistic that we get answers quickly, and we can make
Chris,
decisions.
you say
about our
investing money. I don't think it's investing. I think it's a waste of money when these projects get, when I hear investing, I think of good business decisions.
Well said,
And result is these projects get much more expensive.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it does.
So other highlights of the initiatives that,
They spoke about, so there were issues about the waters of the U.S. regulations. There was a rancher from Texas who talked about having a dry wash through his ranch that some years didn't even have any water in it, that was designated as a federal wetland and caused them all kind of regulatory and expensive burdens. Two different people spoke about the remote health guidelines and the limitations to providing, telehealth, online medical treatment, and particularly the complications of those being in interstate regions where a metropolitan area might span 2 or 3 states, and how the licensing of the professionals gets very convoluted in a telehealth situation. There's been some federal relief to try to address those kind of things. Heard from a businessman who dealt with imports and some of the regulatory implications of that, and so. It wasn't just about transportation. There were about 200 people in total at the event, all representing different constituencies. There were 10 of us from our national association there to represent a local transportation element to this, but a number of different people. One of the highlights, I was telling Rob this before the meeting, one of the highlights for me was we were on the south lawn of the White House for an hour before the event started, and had a chance to visit and network with a number of people from around the country who had totally different perspectives on things, but the unifying message was we were all suffering from some burden of overregulation, and it was that was probably one of the more enjoyable parts for me, is getting to meet people from other states and other points of view.
Great. Yeah, huge regulatory reform, very comprehensive.
this has been a real theme of this president's term, is to reduce regulatory burden, and this is just a Class A example of how to reduce it, to save time, save money, make it easier, so on. So it's great to see.
I was honored to be there and to represent our county, and
Yes,
I
thank
tried
you
my
for
best
going.
not to embarrass us.
Were you successful?
Yeah, we'll wait and see.
Guess we'll find out.
Maybe.
Great.
Yeah, some of those people he met might get back to us.
Did you get inside the White House?
Yeah, actually, there were 3 security checkpoints to get you onto the White House grounds, and I actually walked in the White House without realizing I was in the White House. There was kind of a path through the last security checkpoint to a door in the side of a building, and I hadn't even seen the White House at that point, and walked in, and there was a man in his full military dress uniform said, "Sir, welcome to the White House." And
Oh,
I realized then I was in the East Wing of the White House.
Oh, my
So,
gosh.
It was a
Yeah.
wow moment.
Yeah.
Didn't get into the Oval Office, though.
No.
Didn't think that would be possible. Very cool, very
But
neat.
we were in the East Wing and ushered back outside to a pathway past the Kennedy Garden. Barron Trump has a soccer net set up on the lawn of the White House. So I
Yeah.
assume it was his.
Yeah.
And so you, from there out onto the at the base of the steps from the center of the White House onto the south lawn. So it was
Great.
Well,
fascinating.
Congratulations on being selected to attend and represent Delaware County, and thank you for representing Delaware County so well at the national level as well as the local level.
Thank you.
It's a nice compliment to you and great recognition for the county.
Thank you.
Hopefully, we'll be able to get more done sooner, quicker, cheaper.
We're sure hoping.
Yeah,
And still safe and still environmentally responsible.
absolutely,
Right.
absolutely.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Yep. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Jennifer,
All right, that brings us to item number 12, resolution number 20-613, in the matter of appointing a member to the Delaware County District Library Board of Trustees.
So moved.
Second.
discussion.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jane Hawes, Director of Communications. We have before you a resolution to appoint Bradley Allen to the Delaware County District Library Board of Trustees, and we recommend your approval.
Okay, vote.
Vote on motion 20-613. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye. Pardon me, aye.
Resolution number 20-614, in the matter of reappointing members to the North Star New Community Authority Board of Trustees.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion.
And this one, we have a resolution of reappointment that we're recommending for Glenn Evans and Howard Heffelfinger to the North Star New Community Authority Board.
Okay, vote.
Vote on motion 20-614. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Thank you.
I believe on item number 14, we are going to be returning to that later in the day. I don't know if staff attorney needs to mention that or if he has any comments, or if we're just going to come back to it.
Okay. After executive session or, okay,
It's not ready in its current form.
okay.
That brings us to administrator reports.
Good morning, Commissioners. Mike Fromer, County Administrator. I just got a real brief report this morning. Had a chance to tour the historic courthouse late last week, and things are coming along nicely. A lot of the interior finishes are being done with the drywall and painting and some tile and different things of that nature. It looks like we're probably headed for about a mid-September, early September substantial completion, and then October, early October final completion. So it's definitely worth a trip over there. There's no air conditioning in there, so when you do go over there, it's pretty warm. So it definitely is coming along very nicely. So that's all I have to report today.
Okay. Good to see that, moving along, certainly. Anxious to move in. Commissioner Merrill.
I have two things. First of all, I'm not sure if all of us got this email or just me because I'm on the CCO board, but the ideas for the next CCO legislative platform, which is for 2021-22, did y'all get that email? Okay, so I will forward it to you, but if you have suggestions for the platform by this Friday, so let's say Thursday to give me time to
Okay.
put the email together.
Okay.
But I'll forward that to you after this meeting.
I think I
And,
did get it. I'll double check. I think I got it, but when was it sent?
It was sent out July 9th,
July 9th. Okay, I will check. Thank you.
and, but regardless, I'll just
okay,
forward
just
my
forward
copy,
it.
just to expedite it, and if you could let me know by Thursday.
Okay,
It's due Friday.
okay.
If there's anything that you'd like to see them to consider for the policy for 21-22. The other thing I have is, there's a lot of, I'll also use the word emotion going around right now because of the virus, and I've had a number of constituents express that frustration, especially when we went from orange to red. And I did not see it personally, but I understand the governor was on one of the Sunday morning shows, and from the comments I got back, I won't go into detail since I didn't view it personally, but some people left there who did watch it felt less than reassured about what they heard. I think there is so much misinformation, and you get on TV stations and you hear about all these things around the country. You hear things about in our county. I would just give you a couple examples. It's my understanding we had 2 county residents in the hospital last Friday. That does not seem to be excessive, but we did move from orange to red. And these are the kind of things that I'm getting back that I'm just passing on without editorializing or trying not to editorialize. If we test more, it seems we have more positives, and therefore we end up being held accountable for that. And the other side of that coin is if we test less, does that mean we have less positives, and therefore, and I'm not suggesting we should test less, but I'm saying the testing process, because more testing is being done now than it was 2 months ago, could lead to maybe a distortion of how we're viewed as a county. Counties in Florida, they had counties in Florida that reported 100% positives, but they weren't reporting the negatives. So when people hear that hear that on the news, they jump to the same assumptions that it could be happening in our state, our county. I'm not saying it's true or not. Concern about people being counted multiple times. Every time they test, they get counted. And one of the things I've observed, I have no idea if it's true or not, and I'm going to have a suggestion here when I finish here, is part of our county is in Columbus, part of our county is in Dublin. Do they end up getting counted twice with the Dublin numbers and the Delaware County numbers? You would assume not, but there's so much distrust in how the numbers are collected that's a question that's worth getting an answer to. So what I'm asking or suggesting is that we direct our administrator, Mike Fromer, to put together a small group, 5 or 6 people, with the blessing of the commissioners, to meet with our health director in the county and just get some clarity and hopefully some reassurance for our constituents. We all, I believe, got this email. I won't use the person's name. The citizens of Delaware County need you to stand up for us. The recent state assignment of red to our COVID-19 status is a fallacy. The state's own dashboard does not agree data-wise with that warning system. Dashboard shows a downward trend, which is good news. Please encourage our state leaders to help straighten out this data debacle. So, and I think that's what I'm suggesting, is we get some clarity because it is confusing. It is confusing to the residents. Delaware County deserves a truthful presentation of the current situation. So what I would encourage is everyone follow the governor's directives. Everyone should be wearing the mask. But in the meantime, let's try to get some confidence in the numbers and what the numbers mean. And it'd be my recommendation we ask our administrator to put together a small group, 5 or 6, meet with the health director, and try to seek that clarity, that reassurance. That's my comments.
Well, first of all, my comment would be that it is really important that everyone do follow the orders. Actually, I guess it's the Ohio Health Department that mandated the wearing of masks, and it is extremely important that we all do that to protect others. And whatever benefit it is to us, I think the main reason I wear it is to make sure that I am protecting other people. And, you know, it's a matter, too, of respect and showing gratitude to the frontline workers and those, too, who have had families who have suffered from the virus, died from the virus. But as far as some of the comments as to what does this all mean as far as the levels that we're in right now, and what is, how did the governor come about, finding those, putting us in those different levels. you know, if our, I mean, I don't have any problem with our county administrator checking with other people. I don't know that a group needs to be formed to do this. I don't really like the idea of a group being formed, just because I'd rather keep it in the hands of our county administrator and let him consult with whomever he wants to consult with. Certainly, it would be the head of our general health district. And then we can get more information through him. I don't think we need another.
I just want to comment on that. I think it is important to have some geographical representation throughout the county because it affects people throughout the county. I'm not suggesting who's on that group. I'm leaving it up to our county administrator to make that determination.
Yeah, I mean.
But there is a lot of concern out there right now about, and having confidence in the numbers is a good thing. And right now, I don't think that confidence exists.
But that's what he would be doing, is getting more facts.
But having a group reflective of the community, I think would help him in that process, my view. So.
Yeah, I'll weigh in a little bit. I think there, to your point, Commissioner Merrill, there is a lot of confusion over what the different levels mean, because there's all sorts of criteria within them. There's conflicting information. There's doubts about the accuracy of the information. There are doubts about what each level really represents, you know, what the proper reaction to some of this data. I think we've largely focused on the wrong data, new cases, not hospitalizations and you know, serious illnesses, and so on. And again, there's conflicting medical advice. You read one thing and then you read the exact opposite from medical experts. And so there's a lot of confusion over that. And I'll tell you, if we shut down this economy again, that is going to just cause such tremendous harm in the long run in many other areas. Suicides, depression, alcoholism, civil abuse, you know, domestic abuse, just the lack of education of our youth. I mean, there's just so many implications of, you know, just millions more go into poverty, which has negative implications for health and so on. So yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense to whether it's a group or, you know, formal group or an informal group or just, you know, our administrator contacting experts and representatives of different areas. I think it makes a lot of sense, so we can hopefully put out an educated position, if you will, or understanding of where we are, and so on. So again, I think it makes sense. I would support Administrator Frommer being put in to put a group together. If it's a group or with individuals informally, that's fine. But yeah, again, I think we need to understand it better, because these are big things. When you're talking a county of 215,000 people, to potentially shut it down again and cause the economic stress and the health stress and so on that comes with it over data that's conflicted, and the implications of that data is different. So yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense that we go down that path and work on that, so we can be prepared to communicate it better and understand it better. So.
And if I could, I'm just going to ask our attorney to clarify the county's role in this.
Yeah, that's an important point.
Yeah, because I want people, one of confusion has arisen as to which governmental bodies actually do have a say in whatever aspect.
That's a good point, because we've all gotten a lot of comments and complaints over issues that we really don't control.
And telling us to do something when we can't.
That's a good point.
Which part? Because there's a lot of moving parts in this. There's, you know, we've talked about the mask mandate. I will tell you that overall, the county commissioners have very little actual authority in any of these issues. All you can do is make your views known to the individuals and groups that actually do have the authority. In terms of rules for quarantine, isolation, and battling a epidemic or a pandemic, that lies with the State Department of Health as well as each individual health district.
For us, that would be the Delaware General Health District. I even question whether municipalities have the authority that they've been exercising. Really, we have to look to the health bodies. So if there's going to be a group put together to gather input, that should then be taken directly to the General Health District, the Health Commissioner, who can then consolidate all of that information. They have certain authority and then pass it on to the Ohio Department
Right.
of Health that has overall authority. If you have any questions about any specific part, I can address, but overall, you have very little that you can actually do.
But again, it has nothing to do with the power we have or don't have. What I suggested was to get us better communication to our constituents, that our administrator meets with the health commissioner, with some group to be determined by him, to seek that clarity so that our constituents have a better understanding of what the heck's going on, because they are confused. And I did not anywhere in my comments suggest that we had any power to do anything other than inform our constituents, and then at maybe some point express our opinions, but that's
But
all I
I
said.
don't think I know what you're asking me then.
I'm sorry?
I don't think I know what
Well,
you're asking.
I was asking about our authority because I have been asked by constituents, for instance, to either say, no, don't wear masks, or, oh, yes, wear masks. I mean, they're asking us to do things that we have no authority to do. And
I have told them that we don't have that
asks.
authority when asked.
Yeah,
We don't.
right, but it's important in this discussion, so there isn't any more confusion, that we clarify what we can and can't do. So that's why it's the question.
Good to clarify that again, not that everyone's going to hear the message, but it is important that
Sure.
we do understand that our role is very limited in the actual powers, but we do have powers to communicate, and so on. So anyway, I think it's a good idea to move forward with that, and we'll get that going. I didn't have anything else. Commissioner Lewis, anything else?
No,
Okay.
thank you.
So we'll go to executive session. Jennifer?
Resolution number 20-615, in the matter of adjourning into executive session for the consideration of purchase of property for public purposes and for collective bargaining.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Vote?
Vote on motion 20-615. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
All right, we are now in executive session.
Do it here.
Yeah, I guess we can just stay here.
All this here.
Resolution number 20-616, in the matter of adjourning out of executive session.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion? Vote?
Vote on motion 20-616. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye. All right, we are out of executive session, back in regular session, and now we're going to go into recess until 11 o'clock a.m., and we don't need a resolution for that, so, okay, we're in recess until 11 a.m.
Right. Oh, mask.
Yeah. There were some holes.
watching with people, and they were like, man, they're like, look at the greens, they look like they've been taken, those are fast, that's what they do to make them fast.
Oh, yeah. They brown out. You get a little crust on them.
Okay.
Oh, can take this off.
All right, it is 11:12. We will come out of recess, and we have one item of business, additional business to consider.
Yes. Resolution number 20-617, in the matter of approving the plan specifications, estimates of cost, and tentative assessments for confirming the necessity of and setting the hearing on the sanitary sewer improvements for the Riverby Estates subdivision and conduit Riverby.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Good morning, Commissioners. Mike Fromer, County Administrator. Before you is a resolution to move forward with the Riverby project. This, as you know, has been a very collaborative effort with the city of Delaware, Delaware County, the HOA, and also the Delaware County Finance Authority. And we're recommending approval and setting the hearing for the residents to come in and talk about the assessment.
And the sewer district and the engineer have been working on this because it's a multi-layered project.
This has been a project at least a couple of years. That's probably understating it. But actually, I remember it first came up when Mr. Hansley was still here, just in a passing, and then it kind of lay dormant for a while. But the Finance Authority really came to the plate to help make this possible, and it's a county's way of helping Riverby Estates get something done that needs to be done. And I think I can speak for this commissioner, I believe for all of us, that we're really pleased to be able to help out and make this happen for the benefit of the homeowners in that area.
Yeah, and I would agree, this is a good example of where government can work to help solve problems for a private group of residents who had a real problem, roads and sewer in there. We've also got Randy Omeroyd from the Delaware Township. So I know Delaware Township has been involved in this and in a lot of different ways in trying to get this thing, because this property does happen to be in Delaware Township. So congratulations to you and your team for working on this. So again, good to see. Now, I have a question about timeline. Eric, maybe you can answer that. I don't know if Eric or Mike.
So the reason you're taking this action today is we were kind of working back from the date in September when assessments need to be certified. I'm not sure whether we're going to be able to get them certified this year, but just in case we can, I wanted to have that option. So the timing is we adopted today. The advertising in the newspaper will happen on Friday, and the following Friday, notices will be sent out, mailed to all of the individual owners of lots, and then the hearing will be on August 17th at 10 a.m. And at that hearing, individuals can appear. We're working on doing that virtually. And then there is a 5-day waiting period where they get to file, the owners get to file objections or extension of First Amendment endorsements in favor of the project. After that 5-day period is over, the board can then take action to formally approve it, and then there's a 10-day appeal period after that. So, again, we were working back from the date in September. If everything goes according to plan, we would finish up that first week of September. Before the,
Sounded longer the way you described it, but
Yeah, but that does fit within the September 8th deadline then?
yes.
Okay, I guess that's what's important. So, yeah, thank you, Eric, for all your work on this, too. I know you worked a lot on it. And Mike, you've certainly worked on it. It's been a team effort, and it's great to see it. These residents were stuck. I mean, they were going to lose their sewer service, and this is nice subdivisions, you know, and so on. So glad we're able to all work together and figure this out.
I made a deliberate effort to drive back into the township after all this came up, in the area after it came up. It's really a nice area, and I think this will really obviously solve the problem, and I think also help the appreciation of those properties.
Sure.
Yeah, because there's like still 17 acres there that can be developed, but obviously with the package plant that there is now, it cannot.
Yeah, that wouldn't,
EPA says,
no more.
you're
Yep.
I don't know if you've taken the opportunity to drive back there since the road project has been done. I did that a couple weeks ago, and it really looks nice back there.
Good.
In comparison, when we did the notices back in February to after that project being done, I think that, and I think we received comments, positive comments from residents, that HOA reached out to us to just say how much they appreciate that. TID managed that project. It looks really nice out there.
Oh, I'll have to go by it.
Now, there's another government entity involved in the partnership.
Fortunately, we were kind of the groundbreaking with the TID, which, we were very grateful, for the engineers stepping in. And as, Eric said, the turn-in, from Pollock now is very inviting, for, the Riverway folks. So,
And there,
very, very grateful.
and there was a couple of houses under construction a few months ago when I went through there,
Yes.
so.
And the nice thing is, it didn't get annexed. So,
Yeah.
that's, as a trustee, that's always good words, to my ear. So.
Yeah.
That's true. Do we need to decide whether the hearing is going to be virtual or
Not today.
not today? Okay.
Good.
The hearing will be convened here. We're just working on how to have the attendees.
I see. Okay.
But you will be here.
We'll be here. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
And to meet that timeline, it's important we do it on that date.
Okay. All right, any other discussion? We'll take a vote.
Vote on motion 20-617. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye. All right, thanks again for everybody who's working on that, and that'll keep moving along. Nothing else, we are adjourned.
We were going to ask.